In 2021, the MBTA Communities Law was enacted in Massachusetts. Here's what this means for Westwood. The MBTA Communities Law is known as Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 3A, or simply Section 3A. It requires that MBTA communities adopt zoning districts where multifamily housing is allowed as of right. With 29% of the town residents paying at least 30% of their income on housing and record high homelessness, the law is intended to address the extraordinary need for housing by making housing development more accessible. As of right or by right means the town cannot require any discretionary approval or reject the application. Examples of this include a planning board special permit, a planning board waiver, a zoning board of appeals variance, or a zoning amendment. However, the planning board can require site plan review. In Westwood, this is known as the Environmental Impact and Design Review, or EIDR. All EIDR applications are heard at a public meeting, in which the planning board reviews project components such as design, environmental impact, transportation demand management, and other project components. Section 3A itself calls for the MBTA communities to amend their zoning bylaws to include at least one district of reasonable size located within half a mile of a train or bus station. The housing must be suitable for families with children, meaning there can be no age or bedroom restrictions. The minimum residential density must be 15 units per acre, and the permitting process must be by right. The law does not require construction. Instead, compliance is based on the capacity to build housing in the zoning bylaws. In August 2022, the Commonwealth released compliance guidelines that prescribed more specific requirements based on the community's existing development. Westwood is designated as a commuter rail community with 2 stations on 2 different lines, the Route 128 station on the Providence-Stoughton line and the Islington station on the Franklin-Foxborough line. Westwood, like most MBTA communities, is required to rezone at least 50 acres. The zoning must allow at least 15 units per acre by right, and after factoring in dimensional requirements such as height and setback and parking requirements. The town is required to have a minimum capacity of 870 housing units, which was calculated by taking 15% of the roughly 5,800 units in Westwood as of the 2020 census. In examining the amount of private land, excluded land, and developable public land, the Commonwealth determined that Westwood has 470 developable acres. Based on the amount of developable land around the commuter rail stations, the town is only required to include 25 acres, or 50% of the 50 acres, within half a mile of Islington Station, Route 128 Station, and even Dedham Corporate Station in Dedham. Lastly, the town must vote at the May 2024 town meeting to allow enough time for Attorney General approval by the December 2024 deadline for commuter rail communities. Excluded land includes areas where it is not possible or practical to build housing. While the town can rezone excluded land, it can only count toward our acreage requirement, not unit capacity. This includes publicly owned land, bodies of water, wetlands, and associated buffer zones, protected open space and recreational land, public and private rights of way, and private educational or institutional uses such as Severian Brothers High School or Eversource. Denser development near transit promotes pedestrian access to public transit and walkability, which in turn reduces the need for single-person vehicles. This mitigates traffic and environmental impact. In addition, it allows the town to find better use for underutilized land dedicated to parking. It also fosters equitable mobility for those unable to drive or without access to a vehicle. Let's look at some examples of different housing densities already in Westwood. Gables at University Station has 350 units and is 51.9 units per acre. Westwood Place has 100 units and is 36.4 units per acre. the mixed-use steeple building has ground floor commercial and 18 units on the upper floors, resulting in 21.7 units per acre. The mixed-use Colburn School has 6 units and is 13.6 units per acre. A third mixed-use example is 321 Washington Street with 12 units that make up 12.5 units per acre. Finally, 401 Washington Street has 9 units and is 8.6 units per acre. Westwood has already made significant strides towards meeting the letter and spirit of the MBTA Communities Law. In May of 2022, town meeting voted to establish Section 9.9 of the zoning bylaw, known as the Mixed-Use Multifamily Residential Overlay District, or Mumford Zone. In December of 2023, the Planning Board approved the first MBTA Communities project with affordable housing in the state at 22 Everett Street. Since the developer wanted to exceed 15 units per acre, it required a Mumford special permit. In May 2024, the Planning Board will reaffirm the town's commitment to creating diverse housing opportunities by presenting an expanded Mumford Zone for town meeting vote. If you would like to learn more about the MBTA Communities Law, scan this QR code or enter the URL.